good morning to everyone, especially in Kenya or East Africa. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel, JSMFX, and we are here always and every weekend to check out on the forex analysis, reviews, and also forecast for next week. And for this week, we're going to look at the data for 17th of November to 21st. Okay, we're going to look at that week. So buckle up and let's start. Well, today I don't have much. I just want to, first of all, just like always, thank you and everyone who have subscribed and also followed up with my channel, my updates, and also my TikTok and Telegram for those that have joined to YouTube. Guys, I really, you know, give a very big shout out to you guys. And I hope that also you bring also your friends and let them come also to my Telegram and let us learn new things and learn how to make money online, make money while you sleep. So I'm going to start off with the news. Nothing much to see, but we still have some areas where we need to also be very cognizant about. So starting off with Monday, as usual, I won't be around, but also as you can see, there won't be so much of activities. So for those maybe trading on the euros, especially the German pairs, then this should be or maybe important for you, but not for me. For me, I only do the Euro USD, USDCHF, and the DAX, but the DAX not that much. I just look for possible entries, and I'm not really that aware of the news, or maybe that much concentrated on the German news. So yeah, for this one, I won't really bother so much about it. So skipping off to Tuesday, this is where the everything now will be happening, especially on the USD pairs that I just mentioned. And as you can see, for me, yes, retail sales should be or could be important, but I won't really be looking at that much. But for what I can see here is this could be happening at the same time. So this is the reason why now I'll be very, very attentive about and waiting, or rather validating this day being a very important day because of all this news. Coming in on Wednesday, also the same thing as Tuesday. For these durable good orders, news, goods, whatever, I'm not really that much interested in that. But the only thing that will make me interested in the news on Wednesday, the core PCE. Here is where the juice, starts up and waiting to maybe cook you or you cook it. Okay, so yeah, on Wednesday nothing much. I think that also will be very important for me to look after and also be cognizant about. Thursday not really much, but also for this ECB Gundo's speech, I think this will also be very important for me, so I'll also be very wary of that and waiting to see anything that will happen, watching the charts and all that. So Mondays and Thursday I won't be around, but on this Thursday I'll just be checking. If I get an entry, say at the beginning of the week, then I'll just be holding, just as I've changed my trading plan. And yeah, right now my trading plan says that if I get any trade during the week, I just do one trade per week, and yeah, at least risk a little bit high and also gain more returns. Okay, gain more returns so that at least I close in the week with smiles. Friday, not that much to see. Maybe the euro news is going to be very volatile because of all this, but for me, it won't be that much. I won't really pay that much of attention. So yeah, for Friday, not really much to see, especially on the USD news. And yeah, I think that will be all for the news. Let's now jump into the charts and get the real deal of what actually happened and where we expect the markets to go to possibly next week. And I also, if as we look into closing up for the month and getting into festive, or rather the Christmas, the day when Jesus was born season. Okay, so let's start off with the DAX, or German 40. So the DAX, Germany 40, we see a very, still the uptrend is continuing like that. Okay, the uptrend is still continuing like that with higher lows and higher high, as you can see. But for me, if you ask me, I'm very happy. I'm very happy of this break, especially of this break below this demand right here. Okay, so for this candle that just broke to the downside, gives me the confidence now to, focus on maybe some few sales or maybe a reversal to maybe this demand before maybe continuing to the upside. But also, let's not forget that this demand is very huge, so whatever will happen inside here, let's be very, very wary also that I'll be very aware that there are also other supply areas, sorry, demand areas that are inside here on the lower time frames that they will need to be, or expected to be, touched or mitigated. So that's one thing that gives me the interest now to look at that, because to be honest, I haven't been concentrating on it because these kinds of range don't really give clear trades, okay, for me, that is, and also my plan. But because this doji has been broken, though it is not this current candle has not closed below it, I'm still interested to see what this week, okay, which should be a pullback in the lower time frames, will come and do, say maybe inside this. Let me just draw on it so that you understand what I'm saying. Maybe to this supply before maybe considering continuing with the sales to actually touch this demand. Okay, so say for example something like this. Right now it has broken. Okay, it has broken this one, so this week could be a pullback only to there before maybe it comes down there. So if it does come and touch here, okay, every day I wake up to look at the higher time frames like that. So if it does come to touch here, say tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere around there, if it does come and touch there, then I'll be interested in sales in the lower time frames to come and play those sales up to this demand, or maybe deeper, because I'm sure there are other deeper areas inside this demand that also maybe the price could be wanting to concentrate or maybe targeting. um that was a monthly. So for the weekly, just like the monthly, like we saw, the weekly also, we have a bearish change of character right here with this dotted line. Okay, right here. So like I said, this week is a pullback, and as you can see, it's actually, pressing back up to maybe come and touch this possible supply before continuing to the downside. Now remember, I told you that when you're looking at the monthly, this demand, that huge demand, in the weekly we can see we have another demand nested inside of it. Because so if I'm going to look for sales, then yeah, I will look to, hold my trades to up to here. Okay, so that will be, actually, that will be a very good move to the downside, and also a very good trade. But for one trader to avoid maybe get stopped out and waste all that time, because this is a higher time frame. I have also started looking into taking partials on the way, especially when it comes to my 3R. Okay, I take partials and then I let the others run as I trail my stop loss. That was the weekly. The daily, now things are getting a bit clear. You see how we've been dissecting, and we're also proving that also in the lower time frames things are coming out clearly. So what I'm seeing here is I'm playing between this low and this high, because this high has not been broken. But what is interesting is, after price came up here with a change of character, all that song that I always sing. Okay, we've had the pullback back to this supply. I've not drawn on it, but I hope you're seeing it. And it is from that supply that we see the move to the downside, even breaking this low. Okay, the swing low of the daily. So because we've closed the week with this bullish candle, then I'll be looking for any pullbacks to around here, maybe to the extreme to look for any areas of demand before maybe continue to the upside. Now, if that is the case, that they come to the upside, then this is the next supply that I'll be looking at to, look for sales from that point and then continue to the downside. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm only doing this for educational purposes and also to inspire you, to show you how much trading is possible. But if you also want us to trade together, you can, check out my link in the description box. If you want private mentorship, let me know also, whether in a TikTok or also Telegram, and I can help you look and time these kinds of trades that I've always been having and always been showing in my channel. Okay, so let me know there in my description box, comment section, TikTok, and also Telegram. So it is from this supply, okay, that I feel we could be continuing the trend with, or maybe start, the reversal, okay, to continue to the downside. So if we do so, because now we've had that confirmation of the break of this low, then like I said, I'll be holding it down to that area, or rather that supply. Remember that supply, sorry, that demand. Remember that demand that I showed you on the monthly and also the weekly. Now, if you check the daily, we also have another demand nested inside of it. Okay, so all that put together tells us that the probability of the sells are higher than the buys. But let us wait and see, and also keep monitoring to check if maybe that's how the year will end, because coming in next year, things might be different from the way that we expected. Okay, so that's just the daily. Going on into 4 hour. Let me first delete this because I don't want to be distracted. Okay, let me remove this. This is a 4 hour. Let me remove this monthly. Is it? Yeah, monthly POI, and then continue now with the analysis. So 4 hour, what are we seeing? Clear move also to the downside with the break of that low right here. And if you check very well, the week wasn't that bad. Okay, started off from here, okay, and went to the downside to actually break that low. Okay, break this low here. So we can see very well that price is actually continuing with the downtrend. Okay, so two things for me, either I see or get to be more interested in sales from this daily green supply, okay, which, as you can see from the lower time frame, like the 4 hour, it's a very huge supply. But in the 4 hour, we also have this supply right here that needs also, or rather is waiting for the price to come to, okay, because it was unmitigated after this move to the downside. So what what I want to see is maybe a break above. Let me just draw on that, a break above this supply, okay, and maybe look for demand, say maybe this what do you call it, inside bar, okay, before continuing to the upside like that. Okay, either that, or maybe this one could be an inducement for all those that were buying during the week to come and take them out, and maybe again after grabbing all that liquidity, then they come now and break that high, look for demand, and then the obvious song that I always sing. Okay, but if it does come to do whatever they've just done on the second option, that is react from this supply, I'll be checking to my right to see if there are any areas, if they do come to the downside, if there are any areas that they want to come and mitigate, and it is from that area or that demand that I'll also be interested to actually continue with the downward move that I've been checking. So I think that should be the 4 hour. A little bit of confession, I saw this move, especially from this candle. Okay, this is I think on Friday, but because I already was contented with the trade that I had on Euro USD, like I said, I'm trying to take at least a trade a week unless it's a loss. But as you can see, yes, I got the chart from here, from this candle, and I was actually anticipating to check on a buy to at least this supply on the low, from the lower time frames. But I just, was contented with the Euro USD, and I left it to play out. Only for me to wake up this morning and found out that actually it really did go up. So let's check on the 15 minute and see what actually happened. So 15 minutes, for me, I want to understand the order flow first to check on which area I am in right now. Okay. So right above from here, we see that price was creating lower highs and lower low. Okay. Came and broke that 15-minute low. Okay. And then moved in deeper, okay, to come to there. Now notice how price was actually reacting to every or most of the 4-hour supply, the brown ones, okay. And so for the gray ones, you can see very well those are now for the 15 minutes. So we had a pullback right here, okay, and people would have anticipated this move to the upside would have been a deeper pullback to areas of what do you call it, areas of premium, the premium side, before maybe continue to the downside. But that wasn't the case. They only took out liquidity from this high and then moved to the downside. So all that put together, now we can see very well that we had a slight pullback here and then a move to the downside to just take out all the liquidity, and then now formed, or rather caused, a change of character. Then a little bit of a range. Okay, now like I said, on the 4-hour, this was where I got the chart from. Okay, and I was waiting to see how price would still come back to either here, or maybe this demand, or maybe this demand to come and anticipate or look for a trade. But that wasn't the case. I was already contented with Euro USD trade, so I left that to play out. But yeah, this would have been a very good trade, by the way. As you can see, price went up, and now the internal structure has formed to the upside. Okay, so right now, for the internal structure, I will be playing between this high, okay, this high, and this low. I've not edited that, but I hope you can see it and understand. So from this low and this high is where I'll be expecting for price to at least come to, like that, and then maybe play another buy to the upside, say possibly to here, or maybe look for any reaction and take partials to here, okay, and then look to see if there are any demand areas that they will be reacting from, and maybe move to the upside. All those are just probabilities, okay. I'm not advising you to look into those trades coming in next week. So be very, 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 very cognizant about that, and yeah, risk what you know you can afford to lose. Okay, don't come back to me and say that I made you lose money. So the 4-hour supply that we just saw, this one here, is the one that maybe I'll be expecting to see how price will react from there and look for possible sells. Alternatively, if it does come to break, let me just draw on that. If it does come, excuse me, if it does come to break to the upside, breaking this high, then now I'll be looking for any demand and continuing with the move to the upside. So you see how sometimes top-down analysis can be easy only if you're very, very careful, or very aware of the levels and areas that you should look at. Okay, so that's just for the DAX, or Germany 40. Let's now jump into USDCHF and see what we have in store. Okay, so USDCHF, I've always sang this song to tell you guys that I've been anticipating on the reversal to continue to the upside, and as you can see, things are actually playing out as expected. So after the break of this low from the monthly, we see a pullback with this inside bar, and then a move to the downside before this pullback again, and then a move to the downside. So this now is a pullback, okay, but it's only a pullback to this supply. That is my view. Okay, so I'll pull back to the supply. So anything can happen from here, and maybe continue to push price to the downside like that, or maybe break it to the upside. But if it does break it to the upside, then we'll have a monthly change of character, and so after that, I'll be looking for any demand areas to take maybe a buy trade from there, and then maybe play some moves to the upside like that, or maybe change direction, blah blah blah. So if that doesn't happen, then this is what I am also still expecting. So meaning that if we continue to the upside and then break this low, then the pullback to any areas of supply here will also convince me or give me more confidence that we are going or continue to the downside. So I'm also very wary of that. And as you can see, price is actually slowing down because the year is ending. So maybe next year will be the one that will dictate the move to either direction that we'll be looking at. Weekly, also not much to see. But if you check very well, just like we saw on the monthly, that was a pullback and moved to the downside. This was another pullback to the supply and then danced around a little bit, but this doji was the one that actually validated the whole trend to signal maybe we are still continuing to the downside. Also, now we came to that part where now we are locked between that supply and this demand, and we are still locked actually. Okay, so for me, I see this what do you call it, inside bar that has been broken just like the DAX, but as you can see, it has not it didn't close below, so meaning this could be a liquidity run, and then now continue, and this next candle, the bullish candle, would be the one now maybe dictating that we want to reverse and continue to the upside. Also, so let's not just forget that the supply on the monthly is still the supply on the weekly, so maybe it's still dancing around here, and getting ready to continue to downside, because if you check very closely, we also have this double bottom. Okay, so maybe they want to come and take them out and then now look for the actual move to the upside by having all those confluences that I've always been talking about. So a break of this high, if we want to continue to buy, a break of this high will be more of proof that maybe we are changing direction. But for now, the move is still to the downside. Okay, but for me, if you ask me personally, I feel we'll be changing direction from there. Okay, so that's just my view. The daily now, things have also started to open up right here. So let's try and see if we can get some few areas to look at. Uh-huh. Okay. So for the daily, I'm playing between this high and this low. Price came up and caused a change of character, came back down to mitigate that demand, and then now as you can see, price went up. Okay, so it only went up to take out this high, or rather the buy side liquidity, and then came down. So right now, as we saw on the weekly, we also have the double bottom, okay, also on the daily. So I'm also very wary of that, to wanting or expecting for price to come back and take them out. But for now, we have a very good momentum to the upside, so maybe this supply could be holding and maybe change the direction to the downside to come and take out these guys before maybe continue to the upside. So in terms of forecasts, first and foremost, I'll be looking to see how these exchanging wicks or these exchanging wicks will react, because if you check on this doji, we see that these exchanging wicks mitigated it, okay, and then moved to the upside. So this exchanging wick for me, and this one I've not drawn on it, but I hope you see it, those two exchanging wicks will be the demand, the what we call the fractal demand, that I'll be expecting price to maybe react from, and give us the conviction to maybe wanting to react from it and continue to the upside, or maybe continue to the downside. So anything can happen, just like I always say, and let's just wait and see how things will turn out. For our what do we have? My PC is a bit slow. I guess I have so many softwares opened up, but bear with me. So for our playing between that high, same structure as the daily, playing between that high and this low. I have this change of character happening here, or rather happened, and then price came back to that demand, and then short to the upside. So I won't want to explain so much, but I hope you're following my cursor for the way that I'm going. We had a change of character here. Price mitigated that. I actually explained that in my last videos. So if you've not seen that, you can go and check it out. So we had a pullback back to the demand, and then another range, and then another push to the upside. So it is here now where I was actually trying to tell you from the last two videos that after this change of character, price will come back. And as you can see, it did push lower to that demand, okay, as expected. And as you can see, you see now how the internal structure was formed. Okay, so if you ask me about internal structure, I'll be looking to see that this high was broken, okay, right there, and then now I'm playing between this high and this low. Sorry, this high and this low. Okay, so price is between this range and also this low. Okay, so price has pulled back to that supply that I was telling you about. It has not touched it, yes, but that's where I'll be looking to see how price will behave from that point, and maybe look for possible sales. Remember that exchanging weeks that I told you about, you see in the lower time frames, especially on the 4 hour. That's where we have that demand. We had that demand, and yeah, it kind of was mitigated, but it's also proved that it's another kind of demand because it reacted from this supply. Okay, so that's why I told you that I'll be expecting at least to see how price will react from here, and then maybe look for buys. Okay, if it does breach it, then if it does breach it like that, then I'll be looking for supply areas and then continue to sell. And let's not also forget, from the monthly, weekly, and the daily, we have a very strong liquidity level right here. So I'll also be waiting to see how things will play out in that sector, especially this now, which in the 4 hour we see is what do you call it, a triple bottom. Okay, and that's how I'll be looking at 4 hour on the USDCHF. 15 minutes, nothing much also. What I can only talk about is the market structure, but drawing in on the levels of demand and supply areas or zones, that I really have to take time with it, and I guess I'll just have to do it with the private students that I have. But for now, let's just do the market structure. So after the break of that low, let me see if I can find it. So the break of that low on the 15 minutes, where is that low? Sorry, the break of that high. Okay, we see price came back. Uh, we see price came back. Okay, we see price came back to that demand and then shot back to the upside. Okay, so anything can happen still, but what I am saying is I want you to see how the internal structure was formed from this point. Okay, because if you check very well, we see that from this point we now had this beautiful uptrend, okay, to the upside like that. And so right now I've been following up on USDCHF like this, but I have not had any possible entries myself. Okay, I wasn't around this part of the range. I wasn't around, so it is until on Friday where I came and now notice how price was behaving. So what I'm seeing right now is price pushed up, okay, and broke that internal boss, high boss right there, and then we had a slight pullback with this inside bar, move to the upside. I think it touched the 4 hour supply, and then we had a change of character. So after that change of character, we see also that price pullback to that whole range, okay, this whole range of the pullback and the move to the upside. Okay, and then price now, kind of gave us the vibes of, changing direction. So maybe this would be the move to the downside coming in next week, possibly. But for me, if you ask me, I'd really want to see or expect price to at least pull back deeper into this supply before maybe looking for any possible sales to the downside. Okay, so that's just my focus on USDCHF. If I get lucky to get a trade from there, then this is the demand which I'll be targeting on, and waiting to see how price will get there. Um, yeah, coming in next week. For this demand, I see it was mitigated very clearly. And yeah, this is another demand that was not mitigated. So also I'll be very wary to see how price will react from there. So for this all other demands like this one, let me just remove this trend line, whatever, drawing. We see price mitigating so many demands and respecting them and moving to the upside, and also so many supplies that were respected also with price. So this was a very swift price action to the upside, and I really like the way things were openly shopping up to give us clear conferences that price was moving to the upside. So this could be a reversal, yes and no, but let's just wait and see how next week will play out. So last but not least, Euro USD. Let's now check on that as we look to close up for the week and also for our episode. Okay, so last but not least, one of everyone's favorite, Euro USD is the pair. Seeing or checking from the monthly, we have that low being broken right there. Okay, we've had the change of character, price pullback, but only to the fair value gap. So maybe they could be coming, within time to come and fill it up and also mitigate that demand before possibly continue to the upside. This is a game of probabilities. So as much as I might be spitting these things like I'm used to them, it's just all about what I've learned during the years, especially actually from 2019. If you can count, then you'll tell how much experience that I've had, and also some few 2-3 years of smart money concept education that I've also gained. So this fair value gap should, or for me, is a liquidity point, and I'll be expecting for it to come and being filled and mitigate that demand before continue to the upside. But before that, let's just see what we are viewing right now. So move to the upside to break that internal boss. Remember, you need to also see how the internal structure is being formed. Okay, so this was the last high, it has been broken to the upside, and then we had a slight pullback right there, and then another high, and then another pullback, and then a high, and then now we have pull back again to this demand. So it is from that demand that now I'll be expecting to see it reacting and moving on to the upside, because we still have this supply that needs to be mitigated. If that's not so, then maybe they just want to come back and mitigate that area of demand, or maybe take out the liquidity that was left there to mitigate this demand, all that song, and then maybe look to see if they can continue to the upside or also break the low. Okay, so for me, if you ask me personally, I feel based on probabilities, I feel this pullback will just continue, okay, or rather start. Okay, the reversal, the pullback will just start from there. Maybe get a change of character there, because in the lower time frame, all these three candles are downward moves and also change of direction. Yes, I know lower time frame doesn't dictate much, but I hope you will get to see as you continue the analysis to understand what I'm actually talking about. Okay, so let me just remove this real quick, and then we move on to the weekly. So for the weekly, nothing much to see on the market structure. I think it's just the same as the monthly. But if you check from where we are right now in the current price action area, we have, for me, I see the move to the upside. Okay, same song. We have this pullback, slight pullback that pushed price to the upside. Price came back to take out that liquidity, and then range a little bit, but still gave us the vibes of continue to the upside to take out that high. So when it came back down, it reacted from this black hanging man, if I'm not wrong, and then moved to the downside to also cause the change of character. okay, from the weekly. And then this move to the upside was just a pullback to that supply. I need you to pay attention from how I'm actually looking at this, okay. Okay. So to this supply, and then all these inside bar were pullbacks for me, okay, but still there was another pullback right here, okay, that actually pushed price to the downside. So leaving this as the next supply, which price came to, okay, price came to, and now they could be now waiting or maybe expecting for it to also, react from and then continue to the downside. This is also another conference that we had a change of character and a price breaking down and closing below, okay, below that change of that low. So meaning that was change of character. We've already had the pull back to that supply, and then this could be the reason, or maybe now the confluence that wants to give us that proof or probability that price will still continue to the downside. So if that does happen, what I'll be expecting is at least price to come and mitigate this demand, or maybe continue lower to that demand, or all those other low areas that we have been looking at from the high time frames of the monthly, yeah, especially the monthly. Okay, so yes, I talked about this sell trade, and as you can see, it's in profit but still not convincing. So unless now, if you ask me, unless this low is broken right here, then for me, I'll be looking for any areas of supply around here. Oops, just remove that. So I'll be looking for areas of supply around there, and then now continue to the downside with it. Okay, so this will be a very good swing trade. So if you want to come aboard, then welcome, but please be very wary or cognizant of your risk, and let me not be the reason why you lost. Okay, this is a game of probabilities, risky, all those kinds of TNCs that you need to look at. Okay, please be very, very careful, because if you lose, you also need to check your emotions and understand why you lost, but not blame. Don't blame your loss. Okay, or don't blame me. The daily also gives us more conviction that we are moving to the downside, but still has not proved for me personally that we will continue in that same direction. So what I'm seeing on the daily is we had the same a change of character also right there, and then price came back up to that supply, only for it to push price lower, and then price pull back to the supply, push price lower. So this pullback right here only came to this supply, okay, and it's from that supply now that has pushed price to the lower side, only to that demand. So anything can happen now from this demand. Okay, for me, if you ask me, I'll be anticipating for it to react to price to react from that demand, and maybe take on some more build more sales and liquidity before continuing to the downside. Now, why am I so confident of the move to the downside? For me, I see this relative lows on the daily. I also see this low that many people have actually been talking about. Okay, so you see how they are building so much of conversation out of this demand. Okay, so I've seen this a couple of times where we have a swing low like this one, then price builds more relative levels, say the highs and the lows, like say for this area, okay, and then price just comes and takes out all of those buyers, all of those sales and liquidity from actually here, here, and here. So be very, very careful. Be very, very careful, because if you had bought from there, maybe set your buy limit from there, be very careful of that demand. The big guys, they could just come and breach it. Okay, and for me, I feel that's my highest probability. That's one of my high probabilities that I'll be expecting price to come and do. Okay, but also if that doesn't happen, then I'll be very much interested to see how it will react from there. Maybe come and take out that high, okay, and then look for any demand and then play the move to the upside, because also the same as I've explained on the sell side liquidity, they've also built a buy side liquidity. Okay, so let me just draw on it for you to see. So from here, this is where most of the people have bought. As you can see, that's my buy side liquidity that I'll also be expecting probably for price to come and take them out, or maybe, continue the downside, sorry, upside. Okay, so that's just my focus on the daily. Let's now look at the 4 hour. Now 4 hour, very interesting. For me personally, I've had a very good week with my trading, and I'm really proud and I'm thankful and grateful to my Lord Jesus Christ for giving me all this revelation. Okay, that things are actually opening up with the trading plan, and how actually things are helping me, or maybe playing out with the higher time frame and also the swing. So we had a change of character here. Price pulled back to that huge supply, and then now we change direction to the downside. As you can see, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then this was the last lower low. So from here now, we see how the internal structure is actually playing between that high and this low. We had a change of character right there, and then price went up to now start reacting off of those demand like that. This was the trade that I explained last week. As you can see from the blue line, this was the start of last week, this was the end, and also the start of this week, and this is the end of my week, the recent one that we're talking about right now. So price reacted from that demand, and then played around there to maybe induce more sellers, but only for them to continue to the upside and mitigate this supply. So we see a little bit of a range, and price taking a break here before they build more sell side liquidity, and then coming and take them out, because obviously they wanted to now come and mitigate this demand, and also this main demand that they left after the change of character. I hope you're seeing how things were building up and how the reversal was actually playing out, and yeah. So move to the downside like that to that demand, and then move to the upside to mitigate that supply, and then move to the downside like that. So it is from this point when price came here. Actually, it was from this point on price came here, I took my sell side, sorry, I placed my sell stop order, the pending order, and then price came in, danced around, and then came back up. So at this point, you see where my entry was. Okay, this was my entry. Now for for one of my accounts, this was my entry, but for the other account, my entry was about here, because there was a pullback around here. Okay, so as you can see, when price was down here, this one was in profit, but this one was still at break even and playing around the PNL with the loss and the profits. But with the benefit of hindsight, we see things played out very well. So when it came back up here, I already made peace with my losses. I moved my stop loss to above this candle, but I felt, you know what, let's just monitor the price and see how things will play out. So when it came down like that, I think this was the close of Wednesday. When it came down like that, now I moved my stop loss lower. I started trailing it, okay, lower like that. So when price came down here, now I took heavy partials from both of the accounts, and then I trailed my stop loss to there. So as you can see, price did come up, came down, took other partials again, but it had not hit my TP. But if you check very well, price pushed back and then hit my stop loss range a little bit. I was actually expecting for this range to push price to the upside, maybe to this supply, and then possibly look for another sell to the downside, but that wasn't the case. So I think with the benefit of hindsight, we see where price was. It came up to only take out those highs and then push to the downside. So if my stop loss was still at break even, then this would have been a very good trade. At least with this candle coming in down here on Friday, I would have taken you close it up, and yeah, called it a week. but still I was contented with the heavy purchase from here and also the trailing stop loss that was taken out. So that's just how I'm looking at things and how my week was and how the Euro USD played out. So for the sake of focus, let us now look to see what we'll be expecting. So we have a mitigation to this demand. Okay, we have a supply left here. I've not drawn on it. We have a supply left here that maybe price will be coming to. Okay, and possibly continue to the downside, because if you check very well the internal structure from this high, it broke that low, so meaning the trend is down to the downwards like that. Okay, so I'll be expecting this supply price to react from that supply and pushing it lower. But alternatively, if it does break to the upside and come maybe to this supply, then I'll be looking for that. Let me just draw on that also for sake of understanding. If it does break that supply, then means we'll have another kind of change of character, and then look for demand, and then play the move to the upside, say to that supply, or maybe changing the direction overall. Okay, so that's just my focus on Euro USD coming in the 4 hour. So 15 minute, nothing much to say. Let's just check on the structure and see how the week played out. Now, I think on Tuesday there was this one trade that I, ignored, or rather hesitated on, and let's try and see what we actually missed from that point. Sorry, my laptop is a bit slow, but I hope you bear with me. So price came down like that, as you can see uh, from that beginning of the week right there. Price came down, gave us a vibe of lower lows, or rather the downward move. We had a change of character here, and then price pushed down to pull back to that demand. And then, yeah, if you see anywhere that I've placed this trade of these colors, then it means that these were missed trades. Okay, so as you can see, price range a little bit, and then later on push to the upside. So this would have been a very good trade with a 3R, just like my plan tells me, or maybe I have my plan to that supply. And then from that point now, I want to tell you something. From that point now, I was a little bit disappointed, but what I can say is, at this point when price came down here, I felt this was now an uptrend that price would still want to continue to the upside. But as you can see also, we see that this demand failed, because this was a trade that I didn't actually take, but I shared it to the group, and I advised people to actually take partials from there. But even if I didn't mention it, it was very obvious that we had already breached this supply, so that would have been a very good thing to consider. Okay, not just wait for your mentor to tell you everything. So for me, I was actually wrong when price now came down here again. I felt maybe we will be reacting from that demand, and so I placed my buy there. And as you can see, it came down and took me out, only for it to reverse as expected again to the upside later on. Okay, so when price now came down, I think this was on Tuesday, when price now came down, we see another change of character. Same thing. Okay, same thing. You see another change of character, just like here, and then price pushed up again. So at that point, I wasn't really concentrating on that, because this trade that I just lost came in another group. Okay, so because people sometimes they trade same pairs and they have the same concept and they have the same idea, I also indulge in it. But yeah, this is the reason why I don't actually don't like taking trades from the lower time frames. So it just to now moves quickly, had a sell side liquidity right there, and then price pushed up. Okay, after the take out of the sell side liquidity, we have the pullback, and then move to the downside. Again, after that point, we see that all the way to Thursday and Friday, we had a very good move to the downside before starting to reverse. And for me, I won't want to explain much. We only have this range and then this low change of character. Price came back there, but before that happened, we see another liquidity pool, okay, before coming and take them out. Okay, so for me, 15-minute structure is actually confusing. Okay, so I won't want to constrain so much on the 15-minute structure, but everything now for me will only play out, or rather give me more conviction from the 4 hour, or rather the higher time frames. So for 15 minutes, I won't want to give much of my focus, but if you have been following up on the video up to now, then you'll understand that so many targets or so many trades that I take recently is just from the higher time frames. So I don't have much. That is just all from this episode, for this episode, and also for the week. Just have a nice week, and God bless you all, and looking forward to also see you joining my Telegram and my TikTok and also my YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that. Yeah, just give your brother some support and let us continue learning together. So for now, have a nice weekend, and yeah, God bless you. Peace.